Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and looked out at the strange new world below. The planet was beautiful, with purple seas and silver mountains that sparkled in the light of two suns. After 3 months of travel through space, his crew had finally found what they were looking for, another world with intelligent life. "Captain, we're getting signals from the planet," said Amy Foster, his second officer. She was young but smart, and Jake trusted her completely. "They seem friendly. They want to meet us," Jake nodded. This was what they had come for. Earth had sent them to find new friends among the stars, not enemies. "Take us down slowly, Amy. Let's not scare them." The ship landed in a wide field near what looked like a city made of crystal and gold. The buildings were tall and thin, reaching up toward the sky like fingers. Everything seemed to glow with a soft light that was both beautiful and strange. "Sir, they're coming," said Dr. Ben Carter from his station. Ben was the team's scientist, always excited about new discoveries. "I count about 20 of them. They're not like us." Jake could see them through the window. The aliens were tall, much taller than humans, with skin that looked like it was made of tiny crystals. They moved with grace, almost floating across the ground. Their faces were beautiful but strange, with large eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. "Should we go out and meet them, Captain?" Amy asked. "Yes, but carefully." "Ben, you're with me. Amy, keep the ship ready in case we need to leave quickly." Jake put on his best uniform and checked his translator device. The scientists back on Earth had worked hard to make these machines that could learn any language quickly. He hoped it would work. When Jake walked out of the ship, the aliens stopped moving. One of them, clearly their leader, stepped forward. She was even taller than the others, wearing robes that seemed to be made of starlight. On her head was a crown of crystal that caught the light from both suns. "Welcome, beings from the distant stars," she said, and Jake was surprised to hear her words clearly through his translator. "I am Queen Lyrillith of the Zephyrian Empire. We have been waiting for you." "Waiting for us?" Jake asked, confused. "How did you know we were coming?" The Queen smiled, but it was a sad smile. "I have seen many things in my long life, Captain Morrison. Yes, I know your name. I have seen your face in my dreams for many years." Jake felt a chill run down his back. How could she know his name? They had never met before, and his ship was the first from Earth to reach this planet, Your Majesty. Jake said, trying to be polite. "We come in peace. We hope we can be friends." "Friends, yes," the Queen said. "But first there is something I must do, something that was shown to me in visions long ago." She turned and spoke to someone behind her in words that the translator could not understand. A moment later, another alien stepped forward. This one was younger, much younger, with the same crystal skin but brighter eyes. She was beautiful in a way that made Jake's heart beat faster. "This is my daughter, Princess Etheria," the Queen said. "She is precious to me, more precious than all the jewels in our world." The princess looked at Jake with curious eyes. She seemed interested in him, studying his face like she was trying to solve a puzzle. "Princess," Jake said with a small bow, not sure what else to do. The Queen stepped closer to Jake. Her eyes were very serious now, and he could see something like fear in them. "Captain Morrison, I must ask something of you, something that may seem strange." "What is it, Your Majesty?" The Queen looked at her daughter, then back at Jake. "I present my daughter to you. Take care of her." Jake blinked, not sure he had heard correctly. "I'm sorry, what?" "Take care of her," the Queen repeated. "Protect her. Keep her safe. This is what the visions have shown me. This is what must be. Your Majesty, I don't understand. We just met. I'm from another world. How can I?" The Queen raised her hand to stop him. "You do not understand now, but you will. My daughter is special, Captain. She is the future of our people. But dark times are coming. Times when only a human can keep her safe." Princess Etheria spoke for the first time. Her voice was like music. "Mother, are you certain about this?" "I am certain, my child. This human has a good heart. I can feel it. He will not let harm come to you." Jake looked around at his crew, who were watching with wide eyes. Ben looked excited but confused. Amy looked worried. None of them understood what was happening. "Your Majesty," Jake said carefully, "I would be honored to help your daughter in any way I can. But surely she belongs here with her people?" The Queen's face grew very sad. "No, child. She cannot stay. The visions have shown me what will happen if she remains. She must go with you, at least for now." "Mother," the princess said, and Jake could hear tears in her voice. The Queen reached out and touched her daughter's face gently. "Be brave, my dear one. Learn from these humans. They are not as advanced as we are, but they have something we have lost. They have hope." Jake felt like he was in a dream. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. He was supposed to make friends, trade knowledge, maybe sign some treaties. He was not supposed to become the guardian of an alien princess. "Your Majesty," he tried again. "Perhaps we should talk about this more. Get to know each other better before—" The Queen suddenly staggered. Several of the other aliens rushed to help her, but she waved them away. "There is no time," she whispered. "It begins now." "What begins?" Jake asked, but the Queen was looking at her daughter. "Remember what I taught you, Etheria. Remember who you are, and remember that sometimes the greatest strength comes from the most unexpected places." She looked at Jake again. "Take care of her, human. The future of two worlds may depend on it." Before Jake could ask any more questions, the Queen collapsed. The other aliens rushed to her side, but Jake could see it was too late. Queen Lyralith was dead. Princess Etheria fell to her knees beside her mother, crying in a way that needed no translation. Jake stood there, not knowing what to do. In the space of a few minutes, he had gone from explorer to the guardian of an alien princess whose mother had just died. Amy's voice came through his radio. "Captain, what's happening down there?" Jake looked at the princess, then at the other aliens who were now looking at him with expressions he could not read. Some looked hopeful. Others looked angry. "Amy," he said quietly, "I think our mission just got a lot more complicated." Princess Etheria sat in the corner of Jake's ship, staring out the window at the stars. 3 days had passed since her mother died, and she had barely spoken to anyone. Jake watched her from across the room, feeling helpless. He had never taken care of anyone before, especially not an alien princess who could do things that seemed like magic. "She hasn't eaten anything again today," Amy said quietly as she joined Jake. "Dr. Carter thinks she might get sick if this continues." Jake nodded. The crew was trying their best to make Etheria feel welcome, but everything was new and strange for her. Human food was different from what she was used to. Human customs were confusing. Even the air in the ship felt wrong to her. "Maybe I should try talking to her again," Jake said. "Captain," Amy said, looking worried, "are you sure we made the right choice? Taking her with us, I mean." The other aliens on her planet looked pretty angry when we left. Jake remembered the scene at the Queen's funeral. Some of the Zephyrians had wanted Etheria to stay and become their new queen right away. Others had looked at Jake like he was stealing their princess. Only a few had seemed to understand what the Queen had wanted. "The Queen asked me to take care of her," Jake said. "I gave my word. But we don't know anything about her. What if she's dangerous? What if this is all some kind of trick?" Before Jake could answer, alarms started going off all over the ship. Red lights flashed as Tony Blake's voice came over the speakers. "Captain, to the engine room. We have a big problem." Jake and Amy ran through the ship's corridors to the engine room. When they got there, they found Tony standing in front of a control panel that was sparking and smoking. "What happened?" Jake asked. "The navigation system just died," Tony said, sweat on his face. "Something overloaded it. We're flying blind out here, Captain. I can't fix this with what we have." Jake felt his heart sink. They were far from Earth, in space that no human had ever traveled before. Without navigation, they could be lost forever. "How long do we have?" Amy asked. "Maybe a day before we drift into that asteroid field," Tony said, pointing to the window. After that, and he didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what would happen if their ship hit those giant space rocks. "Captain." The voice was soft and came from behind them. They all turned to see Princess Etheria standing in the doorway. She looked tired and sad, but her eyes were focused on the broken control panel. "Princess," Jake said, "you shouldn't be here. It's not safe." "I can help," she said, stepping closer. "May I look at your machine?" Tony laughed, but not in a mean way. "No offense, Princess, but this is human technology. I doubt your people have anything like this." Etheria walked to the control panel and placed her hands on it. Suddenly, her skin began to glow with a soft blue light. The light spread from her hands into the machine, and Jake watched in amazement as the sparks stopped and the displays came back to life. "How did you do that?" Ben Carter asked, appearing in the doorway with his scientific instruments. "All machines need energy to work," Etheria said simply. "I can give energy." Tony checked the displays and his eyes went wide. "This is impossible. The navigation system is working better than it ever has. It's like you didn't just fix it, you made it better." For the first time since her mother died, Etheria smiled a little. My people have always been good with machines. We understand how energy flows. Jake felt a mix of relief and wonder. Thank you, Princess. You saved us all. You saved me first, she said quietly. When you took me from my world, even though you didn't understand why. Over the next few hours, word spread through the ship about what Etheria had done. The crew began to look at her differently. She wasn't just a strange alien they had to take care of anymore. She was someone who could help them, someone with abilities they had never seen before. Dr. Carter was especially excited. Captain, do you realize what this means? She can manipulate energy directly. This could change everything we know about physics. But Jake was more interested in understanding Etheria herself. That evening he found her in the ship's small garden, a room with plants from Earth that helped clean the air. Do you miss your home? He asked, sitting down beside her. Every moment, she said, touching one of the flowers gently. But Mother was right. I could not stay. Why not? You're the princess. Your people need you. Etheria was quiet for a long moment. There are things about me that you do not know, Captain Morrison. Things that make me different, even among my own people. What kind of things? She looked at him with those large, ancient eyes. I am not just a princess. I am the last of a special bloodline. For thousands of years, my family has been the bridge between my people and the great machines that protect our world. What machines? Long ago, my ancestors built machines to defend our planet. These machines are very smart, almost alive. They can think and make decisions, but they will only listen to someone of royal blood, someone who can speak to them with both words and energy. Jake began to understand. And you're the only one left who can do that. Yes, but there is a problem. Using this power is slowly killing me. Each time I connect with the machines, I grow weaker. My mother knew this. She knew that if I stayed and used my power to protect our world, I would die within a few years. So she sent you away to save your life. No, Etheria said, surprising him. She sent me away to save my people. I don't understand. Etheria stood and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. My mother had visions of the future, Captain. She saw dark times coming, times when our old ways of fighting would not be enough. She saw that the only hope was to find new ways, new ideas. She saw humans. What did she see about humans? She saw that you think differently than we do. You find solutions where we see only problems. You never give up, even when things seem impossible. You saved me today, not with advanced technology or ancient wisdom, but with kindness and determination. Jake thought about what she was saying. So your mother wanted you to learn from us. Yes, and she wanted you to learn from me. Together we might find new ways to face the darkness that is coming. What darkness? Before Etheria could answer, Amy's voice came over the ship's speakers. Captain, you need to get to the bridge right now. We've got ships approaching and they don't look friendly. Jake and Etheria rushed to the bridge where they found the crew staring at the main screen. 3 large ships were moving toward them. Ships that looked like they were made of the same crystal material as the buildings on Etheria's world. They're Zephyrian ships, Etheria said, her face going pale. But not from the royal fleet. Who are they? Jake asked. General Korath, she whispered. He was my mother's enemy. He believes that aliens like you are dangerous, that we should have nothing to do with other worlds. He must think you kidnapped me. The ships were getting closer now, and Jake could see weapons charging up on their hulls. They're hailing us, Amy reported. Put them on screen. The main display changed to show the inside of one of the Zephyrian ships. A tall alien with angry eyes and scars on his crystal skin glared at them. Human ship, the alien said, his voice full of hate. You have stolen our princess. Return her now or we will destroy you. Jake stepped forward. This is Captain Morrison. Princess Etheria came with us by choice, following her mother's wishes. The queen is dead, General Korath said. Her strange ideas died with her. The princess belongs with her people, not with primitive aliens who barely know how to travel between stars. I will not go with you, Korath, Etheria said, stepping beside Jake. My mother's wishes will be honored. Then you have chosen to die with these humans, Korath said. So be it. The screen went dark and immediately the ship shook as weapons fire hit their shields. Shields down to 60%. Tony called out, Captain, their weapons are way more advanced than ours. We can't fight them. Jake looked at Etheria, who was glowing again, this time with determination instead of sadness. Can you help us? I can try, she said. But if I use too much power, it might kill me. No, Jake said firmly. We'll find another way. We're not losing you. But Captain, no, Jake said again. You said humans never give up. Well, we're not giving up on you. Amy, take us toward that asteroid field. If we can't outfight them, maybe we can outrun them. Sir, that's very dangerous. One wrong move and we'll crash. Then we better not make any wrong moves, Jake said with a grin that was braver than he felt. Let's show them what humans can do. Jake's ship raced through the asteroid field with General Korath's ships right behind them. The huge space rocks tumbled slowly around them, each one big enough to destroy their ship if they hit it wrong. Amy was flying the ship with steady hands, turning and diving between the asteroids like she was dancing. Shields down to 30%, Tony called out as another blast from the enemy ships hit them. We can't take much more of this. Etheria stood beside Jake on the bridge, her hands glowing as she tried to send power to the ship's shields. But Jake could see that something was wrong. She was getting paler and her breathing was becoming difficult. Princess, stop, Jake said. You're hurting yourself. I must help, she said, but her voice was weak. Without the shields, we will all die. We'll find another way, Jake insisted. But even as he said it, he wasn't sure how. The enemy ships were faster and stronger than theirs. The asteroid field would only hide them for so long. Dr. Carter suddenly looked up from his instruments. Captain, I'm reading something strange. The princess's energy output is increasing, but her life signs are getting weaker. What does that mean? Jake asked. I think her body can't handle the power she's using. It's like a machine overheating. Jake looked at Etheria, who was now leaning against the wall for support. Her crystal skin was flickering between bright and dim, like a light bulb about to burn out. That's enough, Jake said, putting his hand on her arm. Stop using your power. But the shields— Amy, take us deeper into the asteroid field, Jake ordered. Find us a place to hide. Sir, that's really dangerous. Some of those rocks are huge. Just do it. Amy nodded and turned the ship toward the thickest part of the asteroid field. Behind them, General Korath's ships followed, but they were moving more slowly now, careful not to crash into the floating rocks. There, Amy said, pointing ahead. That asteroid has a cave in it. Maybe we can hide inside. Do it. The ship slipped into the dark cave just as Etheria collapsed. Dr. Carter rushed to help her, checking her with his medical tools. Her energy levels are all wrong, he said, worry in his voice. It's like her body is fighting itself. If this continues, she could die. Jake knelt beside Etheria, who was struggling to breathe. What's happening to her? I think I know, she whispered. My people need special crystals to control our power safely. The crystals help focus the energy so it doesn't hurt us. But there are no such crystals here. Can we make some? Tony asked. If you tell us what they're made of? Etheria shook her head weakly. The crystals grow naturally on our world over thousands of years. They cannot be made quickly. Dr. Carter was studying his readings with a puzzled look. Wait a minute. Captain, look at this. He showed Jake his scanner. Her body is producing too much energy and has no way to get rid of it safely. It's like electricity building up with nowhere to go. So we need to find a way to help her control it, Jake said. Actually, Dr. Carter said slowly, I might have an idea. It's crazy, but it might work. What is it? Human medical nanobots. They're tiny machines that we use to fix injuries inside the body. What if we program them to help regulate her energy? Tony looked confused. But those are made for humans, not aliens. That's what makes it crazy, Dr. Carter said. But her energy readings aren't that different from human electrical activity. The nanobots might be able to learn and adapt. Etheria opened her eyes. You would risk your primitive machines inside my body? They're not primitive, Jake said with a smile. They're human. That means they're stubborn and creative, just like us. Dr. Carter was already working at his station. I'll need to modify the nanobots' programming. They'll have to learn her energy patterns and find ways to help her body handle the power safely. How long will that take? Amy asked. A few hours maybe, but I'll need her help. She'll have to try to communicate with the nanobots, teach them what they need to know. Etheria struggled to sit up. I will try. Outside the cave, they could hear the sound of General Korath's ship searching for them. The enemy was getting closer. Captain, Amy said quietly. They're scanning the asteroids one by one. They'll find us soon. Jake looked around at his crew. Tony was helping Dr. Carter with the nanobots. Amy was watching the entrance to their hiding place. Everyone was working hard to save Etheria. even though they barely knew her. "Why are you doing this?" Etheria asked as if reading his thoughts. "I am not human. My problems are not your problems." "That's where you're wrong," Jake said. "When someone needs help, they become our problem. That's just how humans work." Dr. Carter looked up from his work. "Ready to try, Princess. But I have to warn you, this has never been done before. We don't know what will happen." "It cannot be worse than what is happening now," she said. Dr. Carter injected the modified nanobots into Etheria's arm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her skin began to glow more steadily, not flickering like before. "Talk to them," Dr. Carter said. "Try to show them what you need." Etheria closed her eyes and concentrated. Jake watched as her glow became brighter and steadier. The nanobots were learning, adapting to her alien biology in ways their creators had never imagined. "It's working," Dr. Carter said in amazement. "The nanobots are actually communicating with her cellular energy. They're creating tiny pathways to help regulate the power flow." "How do you feel?" Jake asked. Etheria opened her eyes, and for the first time in days she looked truly healthy. "Better, much better. The tiny machines are helping my body remember how to control its power." "Captain," Amy said urgently, "they've found us. 3 ships coming this way fast." Jake helped Etheria to her feet. "Can you help us now? Without hurting yourself?" She smiled, and her whole body glowed with controlled, steady light. "Yes. The human machines have taught my body new ways to be strong. Then let's show Korath what humans and Zephyrians can do together." The enemy ships appeared at the mouth of the cave, their weapons charged and ready. General Korath's voice echoed through the asteroid. "Come out, humans. There is nowhere left to run." "Amy, take us out," Jake ordered. "Princess, can you boost our shields and weapons?" "I can do better than that," Etheria said. She placed her hands on the ship's main console, and her energy flowed into every system. The ship's lights became brighter, the engines hummed with new power, and the shields glowed like armor made of light. "Incredible," Tony whispered. "She's not just powering our systems, she's improving them." The ship burst out of the cave, moving faster than it ever had before. General Korath's ships fired at them, but their weapons bounced off the glowing shields like raindrops. "Impossible," came Korath's voice over the radio. "Human technology cannot do this." "You're right," Jake said, opening a channel to the enemy ships. "Human technology can't do this alone, but humans and Zephyrians working together can do amazing things." Etheria was glowing brighter now, but Jake could see she was in control. The nanobots were helping her body handle the power safely, creating a bridge between human technology and Zephyrian abilities. "Follow us," she said to the ship's computers, and somehow they understood her. The navigation system came alive with new information, showing them safe paths through the asteroid field that no human could have calculated. Amy followed the glowing path on her screen, weaving between asteroids with impossible grace. Behind them, General Korath's ships tried to follow but couldn't match their speed and agility. "We're losing them," Amy reported with excitement. But Etheria suddenly looked worried. "Captain, I can sense something else. Something wrong. What is it?" "The energy patterns around us are changing. There is something else out here. Something that does not belong." On the main screen, space itself seemed to be bending and twisting. Dark shapes moved between the stars, shapes that hurt to look at directly. "What are those things?" Tony asked. Etheria's face went pale. "The ancient enemy. The ones my mother saw in her visions. They have found us." Jake stared at the dark shapes that seemed to eat the light around them. "The Void Seekers?" "Yes. And if they are here, then nowhere in the galaxy is safe." Behind them, General Korath's ships had stopped chasing them. The enemy general's voice came over the radio again, but this time there was fear in it instead of anger. "Princess," Korath said, "what have you brought to our space?" "I brought nothing," Etheria replied. "But perhaps together we can face what has come." Jake looked at his crew, then at the alien princess whose life they had saved. Outside, ancient enemies moved through space, bringing darkness and destruction. But here, in this small human ship, something new had been born. Human determination and alien wisdom, working together in ways that neither species could have achieved alone. "Princess," Jake said, "I think it's time we went home. Your people are going to need their queen, and they're going to need human allies, too." "Yes," Etheria said, her hand still glowing as it touched the ship's controls. "It is time to prepare for the real battle." The journey back to Etheria's home planet took 2 days. During that time, Jake watched as his crew and the alien princess worked together in ways he had never seen before. Tony was learning how Zephyrian energy systems worked, while Etheria studied human engineering with fascination. Dr. Carter was excited about the possibilities of combining human medicine with alien energy, healing, but Jake was worried about what they would find when they arrived. General Korath's ships had reached the planet before them, and there was no telling what the general had told the other Zephyrians about humans. "Captain," Amy said as they approached the planet, "I'm getting signals from the surface. It looks like there's some kind of civil war happening down there." Through the ship's windows, they could see smoke rising from the crystal cities. Some of the beautiful buildings were damaged, and there were ships fighting in the sky above the planet. "My people are fighting each other," Etheria said sadly. "This is what happens when there is no queen to unite them." "We have to stop this," Jake said. "But how?" "There is an ancient place on my world," Etheria explained. "A temple where the first queens learned to speak with the great machines. If I can reach it, I can prove that I am the rightful ruler. And if Korath tries to stop us, then we will have to fight him." Jake nodded. "Amy, take us down. Try to avoid the fighting and get us to the temple." As their ship entered the planet's atmosphere, several Zephyrian fighters moved to intercept them, but before they could attack, Etheria placed her hands on the communication system. "This is Princess Etheria," she broadcast to all the ships. "I have returned to claim my birthright. Those who are loyal to the crown follow me to the Temple of First Light." Some of the fighters immediately changed course to escort them. Others seemed unsure. A few turned away, probably to report to General Korath. The Temple of First Light was built into the side of a mountain, its crystal walls glowing with ancient energy. But as they approached, Jake could see that Korath's forces had surrounded it. "They are not going to let us land," Amy observed. "Yes, they will," Etheria said with determination. She stood up and walked to the front of the bridge. Her whole body began to glow, brighter than Jake had ever seen before. The light spread out from the ship like wings, and suddenly every electronic system on Korath's ship simply stopped working. "Impressive," Dr. Carter said. "She's using electromagnetic pulses to disable their technology." The enemy ships fell silent and began drifting. Jake's ship landed safely in front of the temple, where a crowd of Zephyrians had gathered to watch. "Stay close to me," Jake told his crew as they left the ship. "I don't think everyone here is friendly." General Korath was waiting for them at the temple entrance. He had brought many soldiers, all carrying weapons that glowed with the same energy as their city buildings. "Princess," Korath said with mock politeness, "you have returned at last, and you brought your human pets with you." "They are not pets," Etheria said firmly. "They are allies. They saved my life when your actions would have killed me." "Lies," Korath spat. "These primitive beings have corrupted you. They have filled your head with strange ideas." "The only strange idea here is yours, Korath," Etheria replied. "You think strength comes from being alone, from rejecting all others. But true strength comes from unity." She walked past Korath toward the temple entrance. The general moved to block her way, but she raised her hand and he froze in place, unable to move. "I am the queen now," she said simply, "and you will not stand in my way." Inside the temple, Jake saw wonders that took his breath away. The walls were covered with crystals that pulsed with their own light. And in the center of the main chamber stood a massive crystal formation that reached from floor to ceiling. "This is the heart of Zephyria," Etheria explained. "It connects to all the machines that protect our world. Only a true queen can speak with it." But as she approached the crystal, alarms began sounding throughout the temple. The ancient crystals flickered and went dark. "What's happening?" Jake asked. A holographic image appeared in the air above the heart crystal. It showed space around their planet, and Jake's blood went cold when he saw what was there. Hundreds of dark shapes moved between the stars, the same creatures they had encountered in the asteroid field. "The Void Seekers," Etheria whispered. "They have found our world." "Princess," came a voice from behind them. General Korath had entered the temple with his soldiers. "You see? Your return has brought disaster. These creatures follow the humans. They are a plague upon the galaxy." "You're wrong," Dr. Carter said, studying his scanner. "Captain, these readings suggest the Void Seekers have been tracking energy signatures. They're drawn to powerful technology, like the Zephyrian machines," Jake realized. Etheria nodded. "My ancestors built our defenses to fight these creatures long ago." But the Void Seekers learned. They adapted. Now our own strength calls to them like a beacon. The holographic display showed the dark creatures moving closer to the planet. Some of them were already entering the atmosphere. We have to evacuate the cities, Korath said, his anger replaced by fear. No, Etheria said firmly. We fight. Fight? How? Our ancestors could barely defeat them when they were few. Now there are hundreds. Now we have something our ancestors did not have, Etheria said, looking at Jake and his crew. We have human creativity. She placed her hands on the heart crystal and it began to glow again. But this time the light was different. Instead of the pure Zephyrian energy Jake had seen before, there were new patterns in the light. Patterns that looked strangely familiar. The nanobots, Dr. Carter said in amazement. She's using them to interface with the crystal. She's teaching the Zephyrian machines how to think like humans. Impossible, Korath said. Our machines have worked the same way for thousands of years. Maybe that's the problem, Jake said. The Void Seekers learned how to fight your machines because they never changed. But now they do change. Through the temple's crystal windows they could see the first Void Seekers landing in the city. They were horrible things that seemed to be made of living darkness, absorbing light and energy wherever they touched. Etheria's glow intensified as she connected more deeply with the heart crystal. I can see through all the defense machines now, she said. But they need new instructions, new ways to fight. Tell us what to do, Jake said. Amy, you understand flight patterns. The machines need to learn human tactics for fighting in 3 dimensions. Amy stepped forward and placed her hand on the crystal beside Etheria's. To Jake's surprise, the crystal accepted her touch, glowing with a warm light. Tony, the power systems need to be more flexible, more adaptable. Tony joined them at the crystal, adding his knowledge to the growing network. Dr. Carter, the sensors need to understand human intuition, the way you guess what an enemy will do. Soon all of Jake's crew were connected to the ancient Zephyrian network, teaching the alien machines how to think like humans while Etheria showed them how to use Zephyrian energy. This is blasphemy, Korath said, but his voice lacked conviction. Through the windows they could all see that his soldiers' weapons were having no effect on the Void Seekers. It's working, Etheria said with excitement. The machines are learning. They're combining our knowledge with yours to create new defense patterns. Outside, the Zephyrian defense systems came alive in ways they never had before. Energy shields moved and adapted like living things. Weapons fired in unpredictable patterns that confused the Void Seekers. Flying machines used human fighter tactics combined with Zephyrian energy manipulation. Incredible, Korath said, watching his lifelong enemies being driven back. They're actually retreating. But Jake noticed something troubling. Princess, you're getting weak again. Etheria was indeed growing pale. The effort of connecting human and Zephyrian technology, taking a terrible toll on her body. I have to maintain the connection, she said. Without me, the machines will forget what they learned. No, Jake said firmly. There has to be another way. Dr. Carter looked at his readings. Captain, what if we don't break the connection? What if we make it permanent? What do you mean? The nanobots in her system could store the combined knowledge. They could become a permanent bridge between human and Zephyrian technology. But would that work? Amy asked. Only one way to find out, Etheria said with a weak smile. But I trust my human friends to find a way. Jake looked around at his crew, then at the Zephyrian soldiers who were watching with amazement as their world was saved by the combination of human and alien knowledge. Do it, he said. But we all stay connected. If this creates a permanent bridge, then humans and Zephyrians will be linked forever. Together, Etheria agreed. The crystal's light grew brighter and brighter until it filled the entire temple. When it faded, Jake felt different. He could sense the vast network of machines protecting the planet, and through them, he could feel the presence of every Zephyrian and human connected to the system. Outside, the last of the Void Seekers fled into space. Unable to understand or counter the new hybrid defenses it has done, Etheria said, standing tall and strong again. Our peoples are now truly allied. General Korath knelt before her. Forgive me, my queen, I did not understand. There is nothing to forgive, she said graciously. Now help us prepare. The Void Seekers will return with... 6 months had passed since the battle with the Void Seekers, and Jake could hardly believe how much had changed. He stood on the balcony of the new human Zephyrian embassy, looking out over a city that was unlike anything in the galaxy. The buildings were still made of crystal, but now they pulsed with patterns that were both alien and familiar, a blend of Zephyrian energy and human engineering. The morning reports. "Ambassador Morrison," said Amy, walking onto the balcony with a data pad. She wore a uniform that combined human military style with Zephyrian crystal decorations, marking her as a captain in the new Alliance fleet. "Ambassador," Jake said with a laugh. "I still can't get used to that title." "Better get used to it fast," Amy said with a grin. 3 more human ships arrived yesterday, and they're all asking to speak with Earth's first alien ambassador. Jake took the reports and read through them. More human colonies wanted to join the Alliance. Zephyrian worlds were requesting human advisors to help improve their technology. Trade agreements were being signed every day. "Any word from the outer defense stations?" Jake asked. "All quiet. The new hybrid sensors haven't detected any void seeker activity for weeks. Maybe they gave up?" "Maybe," Jake said, but he doubted it. The enemy had been searching the galaxy for thousands of years. "They wouldn't give up after one defeat, Jake," came a familiar voice from behind them. Queen Etheria approached, wearing robes that sparkled with both crystal and metal fibers. Around her neck was a pendant that glowed softly, one of the first successful human Zephyrian hybrid technologies. "Your Majesty," Amy said with a bow. "Please, Amy. Just Etheria. We're all friends here," Jake smiled. In the month since becoming queen, Etheria had insisted on breaking down the formal barriers between humans and Zephyrians. She wanted their alliance to be based on friendship, not just politics. "How are the integration projects going?" Jake asked. "Better than we hoped. Tony's team has successfully combined human manufacturing with Zephyrian energy shaping. We can now build ships in days instead of months, and Dr. Carter's medical program has helped dozens of Zephyrians who were injured in the war. And the human colonies, growing every day. Your people are natural explorers, Jake. Give them new worlds and they bloom like flowers." Jake nodded. It was true. When news of the Alliance had reached Earth, thousands of humans had volunteered to help build the new civilization. Scientists, engineers, farmers, teachers, artists, all coming together to create something that had never existed before. "Your Majesty," came another voice. Tony Blake approached, his uniform marked with the symbols of the Alliance Engineering Corps. "The new ships are ready for testing." "Show us," Etheria said. They walked to the palace's observatory, where a large window looked out into space. There, floating in orbit, were 3 ships unlike anything ever built before. They had the graceful curves of Zephyrian design, but the solid, practical look of human engineering. "The hybrid engines can travel 10 times faster than our old ships," Tony explained excitedly. "And the shields can adapt to any kind of attack, just like Etheria taught the defense systems to do." "Have you picked crews for them yet?" Jake asked. "Mixed crews," Amy said. "Humans and Zephyrians working together on every ship. It's the only way the hybrid systems work properly." Dr. Carter joined them, looking pleased. "The medical facilities on those ships are incredible. We can treat injuries from both species, and the Zephyrian healing energy combined with human surgical techniques can save lives that would have been lost before." "It sounds like everything is going well," Jake said, "but I can't shake the feeling that we're forgetting something important. The Void Seekers," Etheria said quietly. "You're right to be concerned. They will return, probably with new strategies of their own. Are we ready for them?" Before Etheria could answer, alarms began ringing throughout the palace. Red lights flashed as a voice came over the communication system. "All stations alert. Unknown ships detected at the edge of the system. They're not Void Seekers, but they're not from any known Alliance world either." Jake and the others rushed to the command center, where General Korath was coordinating the defense. The former enemy had become one of their most valuable allies, his military experience helping to train the new Alliance forces. "Report," Etheria commanded. 12 ships, Your Majesty. They appeared suddenly, using some kind of technology we haven't seen before. They're requesting permission to approach. Are they hostile? Unknown. But they're not attacking, and they're broadcasting on peaceful frequencies. Let them approach, but keep our defenses ready, Etheria decided. On the main display, they watched as the strange ships drew closer. They were beautiful in an alien way, made of what looked like living metal that shifted and flowed as they moved. I've never seen anything like them, Dr. Carter said in wonder. Incoming transmission, the communications officer reported. Put it on screen. The display changed to show the inside of one of the alien ships. The being looking back at them was definitely not human or Zephyrian. It was tall and thin with silver skin and large black eyes. When it spoke, its voice was like music. Greetings, alliance of humans and Zephyrians. I am Ambassador Sonalara of the Melodic Confederation. We have traveled far to meet you. Welcome to our system, Etheria replied. May I ask why you have come? We have heard rumors, Sonalara said. Rumors of a new alliance that has done something incredible. You have driven back the Void Seekers, something no single species has ever accomplished. It's true, Jake said, stepping forward. But we didn't do it alone. Humans and Zephyrians working together were able to create new defenses. Yes, Sonalara said, her musical voice filled with excitement. This is exactly what we hope to hear. Captain Morrison, Your Majesty Etheria, the Melodic Confederation wishes to propose something to you. What kind of proposal? Etheria asked. An expansion of your alliance. We represent 47 different species, all of whom have suffered attacks from the Void Seekers. We have all tried to fight them alone and failed. But if your method of combining different species' strengths works, you want to join the alliance, Jake realized. Not just join it, help expand it. Create a confederation of species that can stand against the Void Seekers once and for all. Jake looked at Etheria, who was thinking carefully. This would change everything, she said quietly. We've only just learned to work together ourselves. But imagine what we could accomplish, Amy said. Humans, Zephyrians, and 47 other species, all sharing knowledge and abilities. The technological advances alone would be incredible, Dr. Carter added. And the military strength, General Korath said. The Void Seekers would face an enemy unlike anything they've encountered in thousands of years. Tony was practically bouncing with excitement. Think about it, Captain. All those different ways of thinking, all those different technologies. We could build things that no single species could even imagine. Jake felt the weight of the decision. When he had first met Queen Lyrelith and she had asked him to take care of her daughter, he had thought it was just about protecting one person. He had never imagined it would lead to this moment, where his choices could shape the future of the entire galaxy. What do you think? He asked Etheria. She smiled, the same smile he had seen when she first learned to trust humans. I think my mother's visions were even greater than we realized. She didn't just see an alliance between humans and Zephyrians. She saw the beginning of something much larger. A galactic confederation, Jake said. A family, Etheria corrected. Species from across the galaxy, learning from each other, protecting each other, growing stronger together. Jake turned back to Ambassador Sonalara. The Alliance accepts your proposal, but we have conditions. Name them. Every species contributes equally. No one species dominates the others. And every world that joins must be willing to share knowledge freely with all the others. And, Etheria added, every species must be willing to defend not just themselves, but all the others as well. Sonalara's musical laughter filled the command center. These are exactly the conditions we hoped you would set. We accept gladly. Over the following weeks, representatives from dozens of species arrived at the Alliance capital. Jake found himself at the center of negotiations that created the Galactic Confederation, a union of worlds unlike anything that had ever existed. He watched as human farmers taught alien species new ways to grow food. Zephyrian energy workers showed others how to build with living crystal. Species that had never met before found common ground and shared goals. You know, Amy said one evening as they watched sunset over the growing city, when we first left Earth, all we wanted was to find other intelligent life. And now look where we are, Jake replied. Part of a confederation spanning half the galaxy. Dr. Carter joined them, holding a report. The first hybrid ships with Confederation technology are ready for testing. We've got human navigation, Zephyrian energy systems, melodic communication arrays, and propulsion technology from 3 other species. How fast are they? Tony asked, appearing from nowhere as he always did when new technology was discussed. Fast enough to cross the galaxy in weeks instead of years, Dr. Carter said with a grin. Which is good, General Korath said, joining the group. Because our scouts have detected Void Seeker movements in the outer.